guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome into my sunroom, and if you're new here, then welcome, and if you're coming back, then hello again. My name is Dayna, and I'm coming to you from my sunroom in the woods of northern Illinois. Now, I'm in a weird spot in my sunroom. I'm sitting on the step that goes down into our old creepy basement, and this is just the best lighting, so we're gonna roll with it. I'm hanging out with my little plant here, little Elmo. I just named it that. We'll go with it. It's my monstera, so Elmo kind of fits. It's like a monster, right? Anyway, so I'm really excited that you're hanging out and joining me, and I'm hoping that this will be a fun, cozy, little relaxing day for you, and a little just bright spot in your day. So I am here to do a knitting podcast. So I am really excited because I have a couple new things that I'm going to do, a couple new segments. I typically do a couple segments, but I felt like I was putting pressure on myself to always have something for a case of the cozies, homebody in the wild, things like that. So I'm adding a couple new ones. I'm going to kind of rotate, add to, take away, just whatever I am feeling like talking about. And then if it's I guess a segment that you guys like and that I enjoy doing, then we'll kind of rotate it in here and there. And okay, so the first segment that I'm going to be doing kind of a little bit later on, and I will put timestamps for everything, is my Knit the Garden series. Now, I asked if anyone would be interested in this on Instagram, and I think I brought it up on here. I'm not a gardener at all. My husband is. I'm a spectator, and I'm not a yarn dyer at all. I do it for a hobby, but I'm going to actually help knit the garden. Well, I'm going to do the knitting. I'm going to help John do the garden this year. I am selecting plants that I guess are going to make certain colors. I'm referencing the book, The Wild Dyer, and I'll link it below if you're interested in looking through it. It's really well written. It's for all sorts of like fabric, textiles, dyeing stuff. So this is going to be a learning experience, and I'm really excited to do it with you guys. Just as a journey, like I said, I'm not an expert at it at all, but I think it's going to be fun. I'm going to, like I said, we're going to plant things, grow things, dye things, and then knit things. So I'm excited to kind of see that go start to finish, and I really hope it's a growing experience for me also, because hopefully I can learn a thing or two about gardening and also dyeing yarn a little bit more, which I've done a little here and there, but nothing like too crazy. I don't know where I'm going with that. Okay, so yes, like I said, timestamps, everything I tell you about will be linked down below if you want to kind of skip around. Another really fun segment that I'm going to do later on is Sock Sunday. So on Instagram, this hashtag goes around every Sunday, and it's about sharing the book you're reading and what socks you're wearing. Although if it's not a knitter, they kind of just have the socks in the picture, and I think they more talk about the books, if I'm correct. This is going to be about both, so I'm going to share with you what I'm knitting, I'm so used to saying knitting, what I'm reading, and also the socks I'm wearing. So even though I will show you and talk about what I'm wearing here, you can't see my feet, and it's really awkward if I just hold them up. So I'm going to do the flip the camera, do the top-down style of like a flat lay video that I like to play around with and set up, and I'm going to show you my book, talk about the book, show you my socks, talk about the socks, and I think hopefully that will be kind of a fun thing to kind of switch things up, because honestly, when I watch knitting podcasts, every once in a while my mind starts to wander, and I realize that I haven't really been paying attention because the camera hasn't moved at all, and the same person's talking and probably talking about the same projects, which I'm 100% guilty of actually doing. So I'm hoping that this will kind of give us a quick little break, do something a little bit different, and then head back right here into the knitting, like showing what I'm knitting and what I've finished knitting. So I actually am wearing a shirt that I used my Cricut to make. And I had made this in you might have seen me wear it in my cozy sweater that I think I got from Old Navy. And I used to sell them, but then they ran out from Old Navy, and so then I didn't. And so I had these shirts that are from, I think it's Jiffy Shirts. I don't know, I was in like a Cricut Facebook group when I first got my Cricut, and that was the place that they recommended. This is like a Bella something canvas, Bella and Canvas or Bella Canvas. Anyway, not important, but it is a really, really soft shirt. And I had it in my closet, and I recently went through and got rid of the chaos in our closet and made it more cozy, and was able to set my Cricut up. So I was like, you know what? I need a cozy shirt that I can wear in spring. And I feel like this was a really good spring color. Although if I flipped my camera around, you would see that there's snow on the ground. There wasn't, let's see, a couple days ago, it was like 60 degrees outside, and the weather totally tricked us. As it always does here in March. It probably will snow once more, maybe twice more, but hopefully not more after that, because I'm ready for spring. I don't know, are you ready for spring? It's been a long winter, a lot of snow, and I'm ready for spring. And I felt like this was a really springy color. It's very blue. I don't know if it's able to show up in the light very well, but it's blue, and it's springy, and it's short sleeves, and the socks I'm wearing also, there's a bug on the window. It's so distracting when there's bugs in here, which is all the time. The socks that I'm wearing are also springy, so I'm excited to show you those socks. If you have been here before, then you might have seen them. It is a pair that I've worn on here before, but they're spring colored, and I love it, and I'm really excited. And I feel like it's good for, like, I also have my scarf, which is like the most basic knit scarf with like the biggest needles you'll find probably, or close to it, which is the Cabin Sunrise scarf, which is one of my patterns. And so I have it in here. Actually, I'm going to try it now. I hadn't tried it yet. I wanted to see if there's a way that I can wear this without totally covering up cozy. So there is. It's super tight. Like, I kind of feel like I have a neck brace on. But I'm going to go with it. It's actually kind of warm. But I was saying, okay, this is like the weirdest weather where it's almost spring and not quite. Winter's basically done, but there's snow on the ground. So I thought that this would be kind of a good cozy shirt for it. And yeah, this does feel like a little neck brace. So we're just going to kind of tinker around with it for a minute. I might just be covering up cozy. We'll see. I don't know. I'll wear it for a little bit till it gets too warm. I have projects to share with you. I do have one other segment that's happening a little bit later on. I'm going to kind of space them out throughout. And I'm really excited about that. It's about one of my favorite things, which you might be able to guess if you've been here before, cinnamon rolls. So that I'm really excited for. It's going to be Cinnamon Roll Saturday. So Sock Sunday, Cinnamon Roll Saturday, kind of going along the whole cozy weekend feel there. But before I dive into so I showed you what I'm wearing. Before I dive into what I finished knitting, I wanted to share something with you guys that I shared on Instagram. So if you follow me on Instagram, it was in my Instagram stories today. So when this goes out a few days ago. And this is a verse that I read this morning that I feel like really hopefully can speak to a lot of people right now all over the world with everything in the world. And it's in Ecclesiastes, and it's Ecclesiastes 3 verses 1 through 8. So I wanted to share it with you and kind of give you a little bit of hope and inspiration, and just hope that somebody out there that this can kind of do for you what it did for me this morning when I read it. So, for everything there is a season and a time for every matter under heaven, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to pluck up what is planted, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to break down and a time to build up, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance. A time to cast away stones and a time to gather stones together. A time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing. A time to seek and a time to lose. A time to keep and a time to cast away. A time to tear and a time to sow. A time to keep silence and a time to speak. A time to love and a time to hate. A time for war and a time for peace. And do with that whatever you will, however that speaks to you in where you're at in life. I know for me, it kind of awoke a lot of different feelings and realizations and such. So I wanted to share that with you guys. Okay, I am going to share with you what I finished. I finished something. I know, busy me finished something. So the very first thing that I finished that I haven't shared on here yet, except for, when I was working on it, is Clara's Calligraphy Pullover. So this is, oh my gosh, one of my favorite sweaters. It is so simple, and yet somehow I managed to mess up the beginning of it. So the story goes that I started knitting this in Clara's size, and then I was reading the wrong size because it was Lucy's size. It was a whole mess. Luckily, I caught it right away when I was, having to increase for the sleeves and all that. I picked up on it pretty quick, but it made me stop and have to kind of refocus. I went through the highlighter for the different sizes, and this was really peaceful to knit. It's just straight stockinette. I wasn't doing very much with it. But that kind of made it relaxing. We were finishing up the Book of Boba Fett while I was knitting this. And so I felt like I was really able to focus on it and have a relaxing project. I also kept this in my yarn bowl, and I just kind of traveled with it everywhere. And so I had it on the kitchen table when I was helping with homeschool lessons. I had it on the couch when we were watching TV or just kind of having some downtime playing. And so it was a very, flexible project because I was able to take it with me so many places. I love when you can just do straight stockinette stitching because it's calm and it's relaxing. And also, actually, speaking of that, I came across this next verse, like right after reading the first one I shared. And it is Ecclesiastes 4, verse 6. And it says, "Better is a handful of quietness than 2 hands full of toil and a striving after wind." And I really feel like I needed to hear that because a lot of times I get so down about how I'm not able to knit a lot. And sometimes it can make me grumpy. It can make me just reaching for more time to knit and kind of resentful when you don't get it. And just realizing I don't have to have a ton of whips at the same time. I can have one thing I'm working on and not multitask, just take it slow. And I feel like it's a reminder to take my knitting and just enjoy the process instead of the product, which I feel like I used to be more of a process knitter. And then I started putting pressure on myself to finish things, to share and to wear and to give as gifts, and I kind of fell into being a product knitter. And now I'm really trying. I'm trying to rein it in and have some more relaxing knitting time where it just is something that's part of what I'm doing, not what I'm doing, if that makes sense. For example, this sweater, I was able to just kind of integrate it into our life, and I was able to have it on the table and pick it up to knit whenever I was able to right then, but I wasn't putting pressure on myself oh, I need to have so many rows done before I can feel like I have made any progress, because even a stitch is progress, even a row is progress, and I need to remember that sometimes. I don't know, it's easy to forget when you're so excited about finishing something. But anyway, Clara's Calligraphy Pullover, I liked so much that I'm going to knit 2 more. I had already kind of planned and hoped that I would knit 2 more of these sweaters. So the sweater is designed by Hearty May from the Velvet Acorn, which I really love her designs. I used to stalk her her style, like her designs, before I even had kids. And I would scroll through Pinterest and I would 100% know which things were hers before even like clicking into the pattern or the post or whatever, because she just has a style that is very consistent and it's really woodsy, rustic, but really cute and pretty. And her adorable kids always model for her, so of course I would start to recognize them. So obviously, naturally, after having 3 girls myself, I needed to finally knit something for them. I have 2 patterns that I had gotten, actually, that are both scarves. One's knit and one's crochet for girls, and I never made anything yet. Mental note to myself, I need to do that. Not I need to, I don't need to. But I do like those scarves, and I would like to cast those on. I don't need to. This is my little TED Talk, which is if you have a pattern, whether it's a free pattern or a pattern you bought or somebody gave it to you and is like expecting you to knit it, if you don't want to knit it, you don't have to knit it. You can say, I like this, but it's not for me. Or I like this, but it's not my priority. Or I like this, but I just don't have time for it right now. And same goes with yarn. I'm actually hoping to go through and declutter some of my yarn a little bit more and just keep some of my favorites, because I realized I probably could never buy yarn again and be set. And I also have a lot of random like one skeins where it was from like Joann's or on clearance at Hobby Lobby, and I have no idea what I'll make with it unless it's like a doll blanket, which you can only have so many doll blankets for your kids before it just starts to get cluttered. So I would rather give that yarn to someone else by donating it to schools, libraries, that kind of thing, and then just make another blanket. And I did declutter yarn a ton. When we moved here, I brought a whole bag to our library because the kids section, it was so fun. They had this like art table, this whole crafting area, and they always were looking for scraps of yarn. So I gave them all my old acrylic, not old like gross, but I wasn't gonna use yarn. And I think I need to do that again because somehow I have our whole yarn hutch full of yarn, and then I also have 2 big bins under our bed. And it's what's under our bed that concerns me, because that's where a lot of the yarn that's like acrylic, it's maybe something I've had for 5 to 10 years, and I haven't done anything with it since, so I'm probably not going to do anything with it anymore. So I need to go through that. But yes, you don't have to make what you have as far as patterns and yarn go, as far as I'm concerned. So, Clara's Calligraphy Pullover, I'm trying to think what else I can share. I did make a project page for it. It's on my website. I'm awful at using Ravelry for anything other than looking for patterns or posting my patterns or responding to messages. I cannot for the life of me figure out a consistent way to post to like the project pages. And then I realized, I think it's because I can't like think inside the box of Ravelry. Not that there's anything wrong with how they designed it, but like I want there to be big bright pictures that are like there as you scroll through, and I want there to be like a story behind it and just make it into this like visually pretty thing to look at. And so I thought, you know what, I'm just gonna make a post about it, and I can share all I want about it as far as pictures, video, information about it. And so I would like to I guess you send you that way if you're interested in knowing more about the calligraphy pullover. So like I said, casting on more of these because I liked it so much. I did notice, and something I'll say when I show my next whip in a little bit, is that the color I used for Clara's, which is the color Clarity, and this is the yarn Wool of the Andes Bulky from Knit Picks, which I'll link for you if you're interested. I did notice Clarity unwound just a tiny bit. It wasn't as loosely, I don't know, spun as the next color that I cast on, which I'll show you in a little bit. And at first I thought this was a yarn thing, but I think it's just a color thing, or maybe just like an off 2 skeins. So I had 2 skeins that I did this in of that yarn. So I'm not sure if it's a color thing. I know some brands are like that. Certain colors just are a little more tightly spun than others, and I don't know. I'm not a spinner, so I don't know what goes into that. But if you're looking at the color clarity, just know that it might be a little bit more lofty, I guess is the word. I'm not sure. So that's my finished project today. And so before I show you my whips, I want to show you what I have been working on, which is knitting the garden. So I'm going to show you part 1 of this series. Actually, I'm going to split into like part 1 and part 2, and we'll call it like, I don't know, segment 1 or episode 1 of Knit the Garden, because there's the before where John tells me to go rummage in the seed box and find what I need and choose seeds, choose colors I'm going to do. And then there's the after where I'm actually planting things and telling you what I've actually chosen and everything. And I really encourage you, if you have any interest in gardening, if you have any interest in knitting and any interest in dyeing yarn, don't have to be an expert. I'm certainly not. We can go through this together, whether you're just watching along the journey throughout summer until we harvest it and dye it and knit it, or if you want to knit along and dye along and plant, harvest along with me, I encourage you to also do it. I will be sharing exactly what I'm using, from like where we got the seeds to what I'm doing every day, which I don't know yet. We haven't done much. Obviously there's still snow on the ground. So before I just keep yapping about, I'll just show you. I'll show you what I'm doing for episode 1, part 1 of Knit the Garden. Today, I'm excited to kick off the beginning of a new series I'm going to do that's going to last the year, called Knit the Garden. So, fair warning, I'm not much of a gardener. I am much of a knitter. I'm going to take this idea from planting and transferring and tending to and harvesting, and then the final product will be dyeing some yarn from what I grow in my garden. I'm so excited because I feel like there are just so many skills, like just basic homesteading skills, that I'm gonna learn through doing this, and I'm really excited. It's just something I've been wanting to do for a long time. So we've lived in our farmhouse for 2.5 years now, and I've never really been able to jump in the garden as much as I wanted to. Our first summer here, we were putting up a fence around the garden, and we really only planted like the basic essentials. And then last summer I was pregnant, so I wasn't in there as much as I wanted to be. And so I'm really excited to just get down and dirty in the garden and be able to dye some yarn, make some really cool projects at the end of this. So I put up a poll in my Instagram stories at the Cielo Farmhouse, and you guys sounded really excited to also see this, and I'm hoping do this. So if you are gardeners or not, I'm not. My husband is a gardener. He's got quite a collection of seeds that we're gonna go through here. But please, please come and join me knit the garden, because I'm really excited. I feel like, I mean, any chance to knit is glorious, but also dyeing our own yarn from what we grow in our garden is so cool. And just, I don't know, I mean, I love gardening, I love the produce that comes from gardening, but I feel like a lot of us, myself included, don't have a lot of the skills of gardening. It's not something that's taught in schools right now, and I feel like this is a good opportunity for me to learn, and then also you to learn, take you with me on this journey, and I'm really excited. So let's dive into the collection. First of all, my 2 rules that I'm giving myself are: I'm not buying myself any new yarn, and I'm not going to, and John's not going to, buy any new seeds. We are going 100% on the bare yarn that I already have, which is a stash that I had bought a while ago from Knit Picks. It's their bare yarn, and I believe I have a collection of worsted weight, sport weight, I think I might have fingering weight yarn. But it's yarn I already have. I'm not, this is the year of buying no new yarn, so that applies to Knit the Garden too. yes, so I'm all set there. You do you. If you need to go out and get some yarn and you want to join me, then that's totally fun. And then seed-wise, John is a gardener. John collects seeds, which I love because, I mean, it obviously helps me right now. I don't have to go and buy seeds, but like, he already has a collection. He loves this. This is his passion, well, one of his main passions, and I'm gonna try not to step on his toes in the garden and just like do my little knitting section, but he's so excited. He's going to be an amazing teacher for me. He's been doing this for a long time. He knows a lot about gardening, and so I'm hoping that we can just have some fun, do some fun things, and then dye some yarn, and then knit some fun things. So first off, right out of the gate, he told me the main places that he goes to buy seeds are 3 places. So if you don't have seeds, he has a whole bunch of seeds. Like I said, we're not getting any new seeds. If you need to get seeds, these are the places that he recommends you go check out. Seed Savers Exchange, Johnny Selected Seeds, and this one he really loves. It's beautiful to look at. The whole seed catalog. And these seriously read like a magazine. I feel like you just want to be looking through it and you don't feel like you're shopping for seeds. And I can completely understand how you get so into gardening, very much like yarn buying, and you just want to see all the beautiful seeds and collect them. I was actually comparing my yarn stash with his seed stash, and I was seeing a lot of comparisons in how gardeners are with knitters. So combined, who knows what's going to happen. If I'm becoming a gardener and a knitter, things could get crazy at the end of the year. We're getting crazy with our knitting and our gardening. Okay, so since we already have our seeds, what I want to do today with you guys is go through what we have, decide on what we're going to plant. We are already planting a whole bunch of other stuff just for our garden, but for this exact project, I'm going to pull out and I'm going to show you guys what I'm going to be using to dye my yarn. So along with John's garden smarts and what I know about knitting and yarn, I'm going to be following a lot of what's in this book. I got this for Christmas. It's the Wild Dyer. And it's funny because my last name's Dyer, but I'm excited because it is very useful information in here. The author breaks it down based on season. So if you are foraging in the summer, foraging in autumn, and you know what colors you want to get, she will list all of the things that you can look for and what colors they'll make. She has a section about dyeing the garden, so planting things to use for dye, which is what I'm planning to do. And then at the very end of the book, she lists dye plants by color. So for example, if I decided I want to, at the end of this, have a pair of brown cabin socks that are cable knit, which is probably going to be true, I can flip ahead to the brown section, see what she has listed, and decide, well for me, decide, like, look through the box and see if that's something that we have. Sounds like something that we can grow. But for you guys, if you're following along, pulling out a seed catalog or just going to their website and ordering those based on knowing what color they're going to make ahead of time is really helpful, because I could, you know, we don't grow avocados here, but for example, I could grow an avocado and then decide, you know, I harvest it and then realize like I don't actually want pink yarn. I don't wear pink socks very often. So knowing the color ahead of time and just having that list of what to grow is super helpful. I've been really finding this book really helpful. So I'll link it down below if you want. The author is Abigail Booth, and she talks a lot about fabric and cloth, but also yarn and all the different things you need, the tools, the supplies, the mordants, and just all the crazy things that go into actually dyeing it. But for today, we're going to get into planting. Some of the things, not all of them will go in yet. We're going to start them downstairs in our basement under John's grow lights. So Not everything will be started yet. It'll be a little bit early to do all of the things and have them turn out right. So we're just going to pick our seeds and plant some of them, the ones that can go this early. So let's check out what we have. Okay, so I've got his box of seeds here. He already pulled out cabbage from the basement. He had in a different place, and so he went through this list with me. So I'm assuming he knows something I don't remember, and that's that cabbage is going to make some color that I'm interested in. So let's see. We've got right here. Okay, red cabbage. It says that the leaves are going to make blue yarn, which I think is really fun. So that's one that we're gonna plan to do. Let's see. Ooh, I do know this is one. So we're gonna do yellow onions, which was, let me see if I remember. Yellow onion, where are you? With iron, Mordant is gonna make brown yarn. So I was talking about those the brown socks I wanna make. So that's good. Let's see. Some red onions. Also brown yarn. Okay, I'm realizing I'm extremely overwhelmed with the amount of seeds he has. There's a lot. I should have had him pull the seeds out ahead of time. 2021 to plant, that sounds promising. We'll see. So far in the box was a lot of tomatoes and peppers, and I know I'm gonna find that in here because he loves planting those, but I didn't see what I was looking for in the box, so we're gonna carry on, continue our search. I know that I wanted Indian corn. I don't know which kind it is. And also, he has 3 of these. It doesn't look, it's not sweet corn, but I'm not really sure what kind of corn that is. So I've got a few corn options out. Now, obviously, I'm not going to plant anything without him like giving me the green light. I want to forage through the seed stash myself and try to figure it out, but I am going to check with him at the end and make sure that I got it okay. That is flowers, flowers, flowers. And I'm guessing some sort of beans. Okay, so if I have this right, for brown yarn, which is one of my favorites, I'm going to be using red onions and yellow onions. And that is what we're going to start ahead of time now because that's going to take a little bit longer, I think. I don't know. John said start it today so that it can get started, and so that's what I'm going to do. goodness. Okay, I don't know what I'm doing at all, but this is so fun. It's really cool to just do something new, and that's something that is one of my goals for this year. I don't know how shaken all of you were for the past couple years, but I realized how little I know about actually, you know, skills that my great-grandparents probably had and great-great-grandparents. And so it really is a goal of mine to learn how to garden, and also what are some other things I really want to learn this year? Basic sewing. I took like classes in high school for fashion design. I don't remember any of it, and I'm sure we use sewing machines. So I really want to learn basic sewing skills without using a machine, just for like mending, making basic things, gardening, and starting a fire. So those are like my 3 things that I really want to learn how to do this summer. I was in Girl Scouts. I don't know how to start a fire at all. So yeah, I'm really excited. I hope that you guys will kind of follow along, or really I hope that you'll join. And if there's any interest for you guys, I hope that you will do this too, because I think it'll be really fun. So let me know in the comments if you're going to be joining, if you are just going to be a spectator in this. Like, that's gardening's not my thing. That's totally fine. Gardening's not really my thing, but maybe it will be after this. And yeah, let me know what you're most excited to see, whether it's something I'm doing or something that you're doing. If you're going to knit your garden, let me know what you're most excited, like what color you're most excited to see once it's dyed. So now I'm going to share what I'm working on. It's whip time. So my very first whip, like I said, is in my yarn bowl, just like Clara's calligraphy pullover was. Now this is Natalie's, and it is the same yarn. It's just in the color Rouge. So Wool of the Andes Bulky from Knit Picks. I am just at the end of skein 1. So if you're wondering, like, how many skeins do I actually need? I bought extra skeins because I think I got 1 extra for each of my 3 girls. So 3 extra skeins, because I'm notorious for just doing the math wrong or something going wrong and then not having another skein. So this is the start of Natalie's sweater. So front and back. I'm kind of thinking, well, I'm not sure how that'd work. I guess it can go both ways. I was thinking of adding a tag, but because the edges roll on the neckline, I don't think I can do a tag, because then it'll show either side. Unless I did one like halfway down the back, and then you'll see a tag, because hair doesn't cover that. So this is Natalie's. Speaking of hair, this is Natalie's. I'm at the end of skein 1, and I'm ready to wind up my next skein and finish up. So I believe I'm going for 6 inches from the armpit down before I start the ruffles, which I thought the ruffles were really fun, because you have extra stitches, and it's like suddenly the stitches you had just made a lot more friends, and there's lots more stitches. And I just think that's kind of fun. Add something a little bit different, but again, it's only stockinette stitch. So there's not a lot of memorization at all. Like, once you make sure you cast on the extra, or not cast on, but like you make the extra number of stitches, it's really easy to just keep going around and around. So I need to find a show that I just want to watch and not have to pay attention to the knitting as much. You know what, I saw a special, and it's probably a rerun special, the other day about, it was called I Miss, or We Miss Downton. And so it was some of the main characters talking about Downton Abbey and like the behind the scenes and stuff. I was like, you know what, I think I need to whip out I have like the DVD set of all of the seasons except for the last one. I think just the last one's missing. I think I'm going to go back and rewatch Downton Abbey. So are you a Downton Abbey fan? If you are, cast something on and knit and watch Downton Abbey with me. We'll kind of virtually have a knit night. A knitting and Netflix, or is it on Netflix? It's probably not on Netflix. But we'll just kind of hang out and knit together. And we'll be together in spirit. So, okay, what can I say about Natalie's sweater? It's basically what I did for Clara's. I'm knitting the same size, which is size 6'7". Clara is 6, Natalie is 4. And with measuring and stuff, it just seemed like they were going to be pretty close to the same. And I didn't want to make it so small that it doesn't last for super long. So they're both in size 6'7". And then Lucy, I think I did size 2, although she's 2 next month. She's not going to be able to wear it for summer, so I might rethink Lucy's. I might wait on casting on Lucy's and kind of figure out if that's going to be the right size or not. So Natalie's pullover, let's see. It has all the same information as Clara's. I did want to give you a resource if you are knitting, because this is 100% wool. My one concern is that it's going to be scratchy. Just a little more sensitive to the material and the feel of it. So a resource for you guys if you also have kids in your life that you're knitting for, or if you're knitting with wool and you're not quite sure, is an episode or also a blog post from the Mama Llama where it's basically about knitting for picky kids, and I go over some tips that I've, I guess, realized in having 4 kids and knitting for them. And lowering expectations is the first one, because sometimes kids just don't want to knit or don't want to wear what mom knit them, and that's something that we just have to realize. Maybe they're not knitwear children. Mine is so-so. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. But one of the tips in there you'll find is having them be 100% a part of choosing the color, but also choosing the yarn. Live with it a little bit, feel it around, and we did all that. It remains to be seen if that's going to work or if this is going to be too itchy. I have a bad feeling, but we'll see. We'll see. So that's her sweater. I'm super excited about. And that is also from the Velvet Acorn. So that's my whip numero uno. And let's see, I have a few things going on today. I've got 2 more things. Oh, and you know what? When I wrote my notes, I wasn't as far onto one of the whips as I am now. So I'll show you that one next. So I showed in the last episode, I think it was, one of the things I was knitting is a rug for our bedroom. Our bedroom needs a rug. It doesn't have a rug and it's hard floor. And so I thought we needed a rug underneath our desk, which is like right next to our bed. And so it would kind of be like a desk rug, but also I kind of would end up stepping onto it when I get out of bed. So I wasn't sure how I was going to do it. I was thinking stripes of colors, like 3 blacked colors of like natural colors, kind of like this color. And I was doing kind of a garter stitch border and then stockinette the whole thing. And it was still rolling and it wasn't really the look that I wanted, I guess. So I played around with it. I tore the whole thing out and I started anew. And this is what I have. I have, let's see, what way is up? What is up? What is down? So first of all, the yarn I'm using is just stash yarn. It's Lion Brand Woolies Thick and Quick Fisherman and barley. So, you know, it's wool acrylic. It's going to be able to handle some of the wear and tear that's going to happen to it. Being a rug, I think it's thick, so it's going to hold its shape a little more than like a lace thing. Like I said, our floors are really scratchy, so I needed something that was going to just be kind of hardy and not something that was so delicate that it would felt or pill or things like that. So what I have is the start of my rug. We're calling it the Cozy Woolly Rug. So this is the beginning of it. So what I'm thinking is I actually think this is going to go closer to the wall. So imagine like wall here, desk. No, that's opposite of what I'm thinking. This is going to be close. Oops, that's the bottom. That's the back side. So basically, I'm imagining kind of a farmhouse towel type thing. So you know, like where it's skinny stripe of a new color and then thicker stripe of a new color and then skinny stripe. The rest of this is, I mean, unless I run out of yarn, then I'll do this on the opposite side too. But the rest of this, I'm actually just going to keep fisherman. So this is going to go and continue for whatever measurement of just being cream. So this is kind of going to be the one detail on the one edge that is going to be closer to my chair, like my feet. So that way I don't run out of yarn. I was worried that if I started with just white and then added this on the end, I might run out, and I don't know. I feel like if I start from my feet, I can work my way back and realize if I'm out of the fisherman, then I'll just add some more striping or do something else kind of that goes with it towards the wall, like the part that you don't see as much. So this is the year of not buying new yarn at all. So I'm working my way through my stash. And so I'm figuring out what I can do to not run out of this yarn. I have at least 2 skeins of it in here of the fisherman, and I have at least, like, this is probably 1.5 of the barley. So if worse came to worse, I could kind of do the opposite of this on the other side. I could knit in fisherman for a while and then do like a total color change, and then the main color could be barley, and then the stripes could be fisherman. We'll see. I didn't want it to be something too complicated or too distracting because just wanted to kind of blend in and be something cozy. So I'm really excited. Slowly but surely, our bedroom is being made over. It's the one room we never did anything to in our house. So since moving here, we haven't finished the floors. It's like scratchy. There's paint splatters from the painting they did in there. So I'm excited to bring a little bit of texture and coziness and make our room a little more cozy. So that's whip number 2. Is there anything else I wanted to say about that? Let me see. I don't think so. Don't think there's anything else. This is not a pattern. I mean, I think you probably figured that by me just talking my way through it and working it out. Maybe it will be, or maybe it will be just a video, or maybe it will be nothing and I'll just share it on here. I don't know. We'll see. Let's see. I need to kind of meander my way through all of that. I have one last whip, and then we're going to head over and do something else fun. So, this tangled mess, first of all, let me show the yarn, is City Tweed from Knit Picks, and the color is Orca. I think is Orca. I will link it. I'll check. I don't have its little label, but I'll check and I'll link it for you guys. Make sure that's true. And what I'm knitting, it's going to be hard to see because it wants to squish in, but I'm knitting a really pretty lace scarf. So I'm excited because this wouldn't keep you super warm in our winters, but for spring, I think it would be really cute. It's like just lacy enough where it's not like summer scarf material, and I think it'll be, like I said, it doesn't have to be super warm because it'll be a really cool spring scarf. So this is the Glacier scarf by Darling J'adore. Let's see. I started this and I'm having trouble with this only because it's not one of my easy knits. It's something I have to pay attention to, or I go totally rogue. And in fact, I might have at some point in here. I honestly am not sure. Maybe you can look at it and see if there's a repeat I didn't do somewhere. Somewhere around in here, I feel like there was a time where I had an extra stitch, or I needed an extra stitch, and so I made it, or I decreased, or whatever it was that needed to happen. So now I have the right stitch count, but it probably threw off something. But you know what? If I can't tell, and if it's on one spot, then it's just, you know, a quirk of the pattern, or not of the pattern, but a quirk of my scarf. And so I don't think that's going to be noticeable at all. I have done the repeat twice now, so I think I'm on to starting the next. It's 14 rows of a repeat. So I'm on repeat number 3. So we'll see. I mean, when scarves get all bunched up, you really can't tell a whole lot of like the mistakes you made. Anyway, so I'm excited. So this is Darling J'adore. I'm obsessed with her patterns. I have a coupon code for her patterns. I'll put down below if you are interested. It doesn't expire. And she has really pretty patterns. This one I'm really excited to finish and be able to wear. Well, you know, I have never knit a summer scarf ever in my life. I have a lot of yarn to make a summer scarf. I have a lot of patterns to make summer scarves. And maybe I just need to let those patterns go and make the yarn into something else, because I kind of have no desire to wear a summer scarf. I'm a little confused at what I would wear it with, because I get really hot in the summer and I don't do anything like, we don't go on a lot of date nights where I would have like, well, this is my date night summer scarf, because it's just still too hot at like 8 o'clock at night. So never made a summer scarf, but spring scarves, I'm super excited for this. I mean, I'm imagining at soccer games being able to wear this when it's 8 o'clock in the morning, 9 o'clock in the morning, and it still feels pretty chilly. And I wasn't sure about the color. I wasn't sure about the yarn at first. Actually, when I first cast this on, I used Knit Picks Wool Meandies, and it was a dark brown, and it just didn't really have that, like this, I can kind of see its drape a little bit, and I didn't get that with Wool Meandies. They're both worsted weight and they both match the gauge that I needed, but that yarn just was a little more stiff. So this is the yarn. I hope it didn't just a ladybug, I think, just flew in front of the camera, so it wanted to be part of the show today. So anyway, what was I saying? Miss, you have made me lose my train of thought. She doesn't care. She's just living her life on the window. Oh, okay, so this drapes better, and I actually do like the color. I wasn't sure because I was imagining spring scarf, which maybe a dark gray isn't the perfect match for that, but I love it because it's almost like beginning of spring. Now this probably won't be done for another little bit with how much time I get to working on it. Like I said, it needs a little more thought, but I think it's a really cool like transitional where I don't want full-on summer colors. I mean, my summer colors are still very natural and muted. This is about as crazy colorful as I'll get. But I think it's a good transitional, and then it can transition from summer to fall. So that's the Glacier scarf. And it's not a loop or anything. You could loop it. It's just a long rectangle of doing the 14-row repeat. And it's very simple. It's lace, it's lots of yarn overs, and so that's fun. I just will be needing to watch something. Actually, Downton Abbey. Downton Abbey would work for that because I've already seen it 100 times, so I won't really need to pay super close attention. And I can just have it going while I'm doing other things. So that is project on the floor. Project number 3. So let's head back over to what I'm planting. And we're gonna go to the part 2 of knitting the garden, and I'll show you what is going on there. Okay. I've got my stash. I've picked out my seeds. I'm super excited. This is really fun. I did go back and check with John and make sure that everything I picked out was the right thing. But checking my book and checking with John, I'm going to share with you the seeds that I am going to plant, the ones that I just did plant, and I'll tell you where I got them from also, in case you want to go get the exact same like variety, I guess. So, starting with yellow, I'm going to dye the color yellow. It's a cool, like, pale yellow. It looks really natural and not like a fakey neon yellow. And to do that, I'm using the carrots, and I guess I'm going to be using the green part of the carrots. It's going to make yellow, and it's just Burpee brand. I'm sure you can get it at pretty much any gardening store. It's a pretty big brand. So that's what I'm going to make for yellow. Next is green, and I'm excited to do this because I like green. I'm having a green kick. I want to paint everything in our house green right now. So this that I'm going to make into green is sunflower, and it's actually the heads of the sunflower. I just checked because my book tells me what parts of each plant you use. So the heads of the sunflowers, and I actually have 2 of them, and these are the American Giant Hybrid Sunflower. And these are actually going to grow to be 14 to 16 feet tall. So they're also going to be gigantic. So they'll be cool to watch grow, and then also really fun to dye with. So the brand is, I'm actually not sure. It says NK Lawn and Garden, and it just looks like this. So if you're looking for the same kind, that's what it looks like. Okay, so we've got yellow, we've got green. Next is blue. So blue is my favorite color, and I don't knit enough with blue because it's my favorite color, but I don't wear blue a ton. I wear a lot of neutrals. So this is cabbage, red cabbage, and my book says that you're going to use the leaves of the cabbage to dye, and it's going to turn the yarn blue. So this is Seed Savers Exchange. This is one of John's most favorite places to get seeds. He says it's a lot of good kinds of seeds and a lot of like traditional plants and stuff, nothing too out there, things that we'll really use too. So next, so that's going to make blue. Okay, let me flip through. One thing that is not, I don't think in the book, I just looked back through to make sure, not in the book, but it is something that I looked up and you can dye with, and that is corn. Now this is Indian corn. Let me take its little thing out. I was on the hunt for it and I found it. Apparently some of the other packets of corn that I was looking through that I wasn't sure about are actually peas. It just has a picture of corn on the outside. I'm not sure. But anyway, this is also Seed Savers Exchange, and it's their sweet corn. Or sorry, Indian corn. We are planting sweet corn. This is not sweet corn. Indian corn. And this is going to make maroon. So you're actually going to be dyeing with the husks, which John said in the past when he's planted these, it will actually just dye your fingers. So hopefully this will be a really cool, deep maroon color, because the dye comes out very easily. So those are what those little kernelies look like. And so that's going to make maroon. So we've got, what I'm going for is yellow, green, blue, maroon. And then the last color I just planted, but we have a ton of extra. We're going to save for another time because we already planted, as you saw, quite a lot. I was like, are you sure these should all go in there? And he says yes. He has, I don't know, something about thinning them out as they start to sprout and transferring. I don't know. I trust him. So this is from Johnny's Selected Seeds, and it's the red, what is it called? Red Carpet. So these are red onions, is that right? Red onions. Yes, hybrid red onions. And that's going to make brown, so I'm really excited. I'm definitely going to make some cool brown, like cable knit socks or something with that. And then this, I don't know where he got these. There's nothing in here that says where it's from, but this is yellow onions. I'll hold it up and maybe you'll recognize, if I can get it to focus on it. You might recognize the brand. It doesn't want to focus. It doesn't want to focus. So certified organic, hybrid yellow onions, Yankee. And so that's also going to make brown. So I'm really excited. Like I said, choose these same seeds if you want to do the exact same thing. Choose whatever seeds you're going to do. Grab that book either on, like, I don't know, Amazon or at the library, and pick out what you're going to plant and plant them so that when I hop back on for whenever the next check-in is, which we'll see when that is, you can be ready to do that next part with me. You guys, I'm so excited. There's progress. I planted something and there's progress. There's greenness and it's not all dried out. At first when the onions started coming up, they had, like, I guess the seeds still attached but like flipped over on the ends. I was freaked out at first. I was like, John, it's growing backwards. Why are the seeds not in the ground? It's shooting up with the thing. He just trimmed it. I guess it doesn't need it anymore. It's just part of it sprouting up. But yeah, I 100% thought, I was like, I've already showed my black thumb, but it's okay. So that is the beginning of the onions at the very least. Now around here, I think we plant in May, around Mother's Day. So we'll transfer things outside. Now I will check with John about when we'll plant the rest of these because I don't know. I would imagine some of them start as, like, you could start them indoors for seed starts, but we'll see about that. So stick around for more on that journey. And I'm just excited for it to warm up and we can go put these things in the ground. We have to finish up some of our garden beds. We have raised, sort of raised gardens. We started putting in kind of our makeshift raised beds last year when the price of lumber was through the roof, and who knows what it is now, I'm sure even worse. So we have a lot of trees in our yard that were needing to be cut down anyway because they weren't doing well or they were completely dead trees. So when I say we, this is John. This is my idea and John putting together for me. He I don't even know how to describe it, but basically the outline border of our garden beds are like halved, I don't think quartered, but like halved trees that he wanted to knock down anyway. So those are just kind of bordering it. And then we would like to put in, we tried doing mulch last year, but we're going to do a bunch of, well, we might do mulch again. But first we have all these bags from Trader Joe's, not the plastic ones, but like the reusable cardboard, not cardboard, I can't think of the word right now, but you know, like the paper bags from Trader Joe's. He's been saving so many of those and we're going to just kind of line the walkways, put mulch over it, and so that's supposed to help keep some of the weeds out and stuff. And so, is it weird that I'm actually looking forward to weeding this summer? I feel like that's one of the things, like with knitting, people don't like certain things. Like, for example, swatching is like, oh, I have to swatch and I just want to start the project. I feel like for gardeners, weeding is like, you know, the thing you don't want to do. But, and maybe I'll change my tune once I've done it a little bit, but I feel like that would be a really relaxing way to just kind of spend some afternoons in the garden. Because I know in the past years, let's see, we've had a garden 2 years here. 2 years, because we moved in, the first summer we moved in August, so we didn't have actually like a garden at all yet. So hopefully we will be able to get a good garden going this year. Okay, so I do want to share with you the next segment, which is really exciting. So if you have been around here before, you see me on Instagram, you know that I like cinnamon rolls. I actually don't make cinnamon rolls as often as it would appear. I'd say maybe every 2 weeks, which maybe that's still a lot. It might still be a lot. But I reuse the cinnamon rolls when I'm taking pictures, and I'll switch out like entire scenes and stuff in some cases. And still have the same cinnamon rolls. We do eat them, we just warm them up again really fast. But yes, cinnamon rolls. So I am going to share with you a really fun thing I did with cinnamon rolls, and especially going into the next holiday we have next week, which is St. Patrick's Day. So what is Cinnamon Roll Saturday? That's a really good question. It's kind of an excuse for me to make cinnamon rolls and do cool things with them. So for Valentine's Day, I made them into heart shapes, and so I want to share with you what I'm doing for St. Patrick's Day. I also just want to share my love of cinnamon rolls because I used to think cinnamon rolls were really hard to make, and they are from scratch. And that's the key, is knowing that you can make cinnamon rolls that are from the store and it's 100% okay. They can be simple, cozy. Breakfast, when you make it from scratch, can be really daunting because it's just a lot of time in the kitchen when people are just starting to wake up and they're hungry and they're not so much tired, but like, you know, waking up tired. And so I just wanted to share simple ways that you can do a simple breakfast, not the healthiest thing, not at all. I won't even pretend they're healthy. I'm not even going to say, here's a way to make cinnamon rolls healthy, because that takes some of the treat and fun out of it. But just making it extra fun and something that you can have, because I know a lot of people say cinnamon rolls is like, it's a tradition they do at Christmas or at like a holiday or a certain time of year. And I do cinnamon rolls all year long, and so I wanted to share that with you. And so here is my Cinnamon Roll Saturday that I want to share with you today. Oh my goodness, I want to eat them. Well, I did eat them, but I want to make them eat them again. And the thing about cinnamon rolls to remember is they are very flexible. And that seems so weird and obvious to say. But thinking outside of the box for other holidays or, you know, just I've seen like the craziest layering of cinnamon rolls and even making like people's faces and like characters from TV shows and stuff for kids. It's pretty crazy. Do a search on Pinterest or a Google search and you'll see some interesting cinnamon roll art. I don't remember if that's what I typed in when I looked. I think I might have said like cinnamon rolls shapes, cinnamon roll shapes or something like that. Or cinnamon buns. Is that another way to say it? I don't know. But anyway, so that is my cinnamon roll, you know, hoopla to share with you. It wasn't anything special, but that's kind of the point, is that it doesn't have to be. You can literally just buy a thing of cinnamon rolls from the store and roll them up, unroll them, do whatever you want with them. So now I'm going to share with you, I showed you guys my scarf, I showed you my shirt that I used, my cricket on, and I'm going to share with you my socks because I'm super excited. They're cozy. So it's time for Sock Sunday. What is Sock Sunday? Also a very good question. So I'm going to share with you something I've been reading and the socks I'm wearing. And hopefully that will make it easier to show you what I'm wearing. And then also just if you're into reading or books or anything like that, it's sometimes a book, sometimes a magazine, sometimes it's an ebook or an audiobook. But I wanted to share a little bit about that and then how it connects back to cozy living and always my knitting. So the socks that I'm wearing today are the cutest cable knit socks that I randomly decided to go rogue on. And they're based off of a pattern from the Crazy Sock Lady. It's just her vanilla pattern, or vanilla sock pattern on 9-inch circular needles, but I gave them a little twist with a little shorty style sock, and I actually did a video I will link for you guys. I use Mandy's Makings Share a Pair called A Beautiful Rain, and I love the contrast of the heel, toe, and cuff versus the whole rest of the sock. It makes for a really cool springy color, and I feel like the blue kind of matched my shirt today. So the book that I've been reading, again, is for our homeschooling, which I find is how I'm getting a lot of my reading done lately, unless it's something I'm listening to. And it's the classic, of course, Alice in Wonderland. And we're not super far into it as far as like the whole story goes. We are to where Dorothy meets all her friends who are going to come with her on her journey. But I'm kind of surprised at how quickly this book moves because I'm used to the movie version. We have this book. We got it from Barnes & Noble. It's this really cool classic style book, but I've never actually read it yet. I was kind of waiting and hoping to read it with them. But like I said, it moves quickly compared to the movie. So that is taking some getting used to, but obviously it's a children's book and yeah, they had to go quickly. So that's the end of this episode. I know it's kind of strange. I'm hanging out next to Elmo here in the basement stairs. But I just wanted to, I wasn't sure if I'd film an episode today, and I wanted to just hop on and seize the moment that I had. And so I hope that this was kind of a cozy little break in your day and just something that you were able to unwind with. And hopefully some of the projects were a little bit inspiring or just cool to see. And I hope that you're going to join me and do some gardening this summer because it's got to be a team effort because I'm sure there's going to be at least once where I'm like, I can't do this anymore. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm going to make all the plants die. So you might be feeling that too. And I just want us to do a fun little adventure together. It's kind of like a knit along, but it's like a grow along. A grow, dye, and knit along, if you will. I don't know. So, yeah, that's all I have for today. I Like I said, I have a blog post for this episode. I have a couple more things in there for you guys if you are interested in reading it. Look around on my blog if you're interested in reading blog posts, because I mean, it's not like total blog makeover, but I have been adding some blog posts to the blog that I started 2 summers ago. Right? Not last summer. Yeah, 2 summers ago. I started and then I took a break from it, and I've been trying to be good about posting things. There's no schedule. It's just, there are things to read. There are things. So, yeah, I've been tinkering with it, some updating. And yeah, you can go there for patterns, show notes, blog posts. I do have a video directory in there, both for this podcast and like all the videos I have. So check that out if you're interested. And let's see. I don't remember if I had anything else. I think that's all. So tell me, hey, in the comments, tell me what you're knitting, if you're going to join me for this gardening shenanigans, because I don't know what I'm doing, but it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be something. Something will happen. Something will turn out from it. But yeah, let me know what you're casting on for spring, things you're excited to do this spring, and just say hey, let's chat in the comments. So that's all I have, and I will see you guys next week. Bye. Sorry, Elmo.